His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
Our favorite patriot, friend, lover of this country, veteran, family man, dad, amazing dad. Scotty is no longer with us. And I just wanted to let y'all know that he spoke for all of us. He made me do what I'm doing right now because he wasn't afraid to say it. This is a huge loss, but in every huge loss, there's a huge gain if we stand up, and stand behind everything he did. That's what we got to do.
Hold on, honey. Someday gonna be one day soon.
Boy, oh boy, we really can't get a day without significant moves against the evil, demonic deep state. They are on defense each day now and can't find a way out. There are multiple storm talks over the airwaves. Jack Smith is exposed. The world leaders are giving up. Signs from God's creation seem to be helping out, and more. We're going to get into that. Thank you for the 505,000 followers on Rumble that we have. Hitting that follow button and like button on each video definitely helps us out. We've got about a week left to announce the Freedom Cruise 2026 out of Fort Lauderdale to Puerto Rico. We're going to have great time together, folks. Q&A time. We're going to have music, comedy, and so much more. And that's just a reminder.
Who's the woman with 27 grandkids?
Oh, no, mother, too. Oh, some of y'all look like you're at the dentist. I tell you, we're going to have a great week. Let's turn it around the boring way. Everybody, let's sing so loud they hear us on the other end of the ship. You ready? Here we go. Well, I'm my way. I worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife.
It's going to be amazing. It's Todd Tillman right there singing. He's won The Voice, and you also have Tim Lovelace, amazing comedian. He just loves entertainment, and to just John a night dry eye, happiness, joy, love, prayer, and so much more, all together with other And We Know fans and a huge crowd. And I want to make this announcement also. Broke my heart when I found out, actually tears flowing, to learn that Scotty Marr 10, who I've shared many, many times on this channel, the legend has passed away due to heart failure. And we're thinking of Shailene, Scotty's family, at this time. He actually had a video out. His last video was called The End. Very interesting. Now, I'm going to show you towards the end of this video what he put out and the music that he put together for that. Before we get there, I wanted to show you and remind you that President Trump did make it home safely to the United States, in case you didn't know. Massive amounts of winning are occurring overseas and domestically. President Trump said heading back to D.C., it was incredible time in Davos. The Greenland structure is being worked on and will be amazing for the USA, and the Board of Peace is something that the world has never seen before. Very special. So many good things happening. President Donald J. Trump.
They've been fighting me for 10 years. And here we are. this isn't the White House, but I'm going to the White House. I'm not going someplace else. And they've been fighting me for 10 years. They're very, very unfair fighters. They're sick. I mean, in many cases, I really think they're mentally ill. They've got a problem. Because when you look at what they do, when you look at the things, even, you take a look, they're still fighting for it. Men and women's sports, transgender for everybody. Open borders, let the world pour in. We have people coming in from the Congo, prisons in the Congo, prisons in Venezuela, prisons from all over the world. Let them come into our country. And that, we've done an incredible job. We closed up the southern border, 100%. I didn't go back to Congress. He said, you can't close it because I need, legislation from Congress. I said, no, you don't. You need a president.
President Trump talking about the left, how they haven't let him rest. 10 years they've been after him. And he called him mentally ill. I'm glad he signed that executive order. Hopefully it's out and about now to ensure that the insane asylums are reopened. You're going to need a whole bunch of those. We're going to need more of those than prisons by the time we get done with the left and their antics. And I don't know, it's mostly probably demon possession, so they're going to have to, exercise all those folks. Oh, man. But not only is the left deranged on the political side, especially the Democrats, but just got this in. Republicans betrayed their voters so badly, the Democrats cheered when these bills passed. They failed to remove a mandate requiring vehicle manufacturers to install a kill switch in new cars so the government can shut your car off remotely. They passed over $10 million in funding for gender mutilation surgeries and abortion providers. They passed over $1.17 trillion in spending, exceeding the White House's budget request by billions of dollars, and funded left-wing organizations that the White House requested $0 for. We don't have a Republican majority. Tim Burchett.
Tim Burchett, leaving the House floor. Several bills tonight. I'm incredibly disgusted. We did pass the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill. We got to have that. We got to have ICE. We got to have the people maintaining our border. A bill by Scott Perry out of Pennsylvania and Thomas Massey out of Kentucky, an amendment that would approve the use of the funds from the Infrastructure and Jobs Act to put these kill switches on, and I supported it. No, we don't need these kill switches because if somebody gets a DUI, they can arbitrarily, which is BS, where that'll head. Oh, we don't like that person. They owe us money. They don't vote right. They don't live right. I'm cutting their dadgum car off. And that's my biggest fear with electric vehicles. And
Tim Burchett is upset, and he put that report out. Heading over to the World Expo 2035, President Trump put this out. Today, I'm announcing the United States' intention to bid for the World Expo 2035. The great state of Florida has expressed strong interest in hosting the expo in Miami, which I fully support. Miami Expo 2035 can be the next big milestone in our new golden age of America. I love that, gold. I'm appointing Miami native Secretary of State Marco Rubio to chair the efforts of coordinating and advancing this exciting opportunity to convene the world. We're going to create thousands of jobs, billions of dollars in growth to our economy. It's amazing. So I want to go back to just a few things that I didn't cover at the World Economic Forum, where President Trump was basically annihilating the old guard.
But homes are built for people, not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will. One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest. And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury? So to help our citizens recover from the Biden disaster, all caused by this horrible president, I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year. And this will help millions of Americans save for.
Remember when they told you you're going to own nothing and be happy? He just told the WF straight to their gremlin faces that he banned banks and institutions from buying single-family homes. America will never be a debt slave nation of renters. So they've all begun to jump ship. They're turning on the Democrats at the WEF, in case you missed it.
You cannot imagine how painful it was each and every day under the Biden administration to look at what new crazy proposal was being put into place to solve a problem that didn't even exist. I mean, our constant friction at Citadel with the government across umpteen different aspects of our business was exhausting. And to have that literally end on one day, Election Day, just gives you so much energy as an entrepreneur to go back and build your damn business. So the biggest sea change I've seen across American executives has been just like the giant sigh of relief. I can now go and focus on building my business.
Amen.
And that prior administration, we happen to be a creditor of Spirit. Their merger with JetBlue was stopped. Spirit's in bankruptcy today. There were so many decisions that were so poorly thought out in terms of economic consequences. It cost the U.S. economy dearly. I cannot emphasize that enough. And so the Trump administration is making slow progress on deregulation thus far, but the end of the regulatory onslaught has been just an extraordinary boom for American business.
Hey, man, that's how you do it right there. You realize how ridiculous the Biden administration was? Do you know how stupid those people are? Entering the world of all the worshipers of Biden and the family and how they do things, because they all need an insane asylum. A lot of those folks in there. Just look at the room. Oh my goodness, they are all probably disgusted, almost all of them, except a few. There's a guy nodding, and that person listening is nodding. But man, there might be some people in there like have Trump derangement syndrome. They're losing it. Speaking of losing it, Jack Smith. Whew. He's decimated before Congress. We're going to talk about him. I'm going to show you a video to remind you who he is before we get into that in a moment.
White ones, we've got clear ones.
Tons of microplastics wash ashore all over the world every day. And now for the first time, scientists in the Netherlands have detected microplastic pollution in human blood.
All the microplastics and nanoplastics we are exposed to, we inhale and we ingest. That actually, there's so much plastic that it can even enter our bloodstream.
The Dutch study on blood samples from healthy adults detected tiny plastic particles in 80% of people.
If microplastic plaque is discovered in your arteries and veins, you are 4.5 times more likely to die from heart attack or stroke. Humans now ingest 6 times more microplastics than in 1990, so trust me, you've got microplastics in your arteries. Microplastics devastate our ability to retain muscle mass and even impact our bone density, making us weak and brittle. Microplastics are altering our DNA by causing DNA damage. This is concerning because it is a known risk factor for disease like cancer. They disrupt our hormones. A recent study shows sperm count and testosterone levels are lower than ever. Avoiding and limiting the use of plastic is not enough. We must take active steps to remove these toxins from the body before they do irreversible damage. BPA is degraded by Bacillus pumilus, a unique strain of bacteria found in kimchi. Another recent study shows that consuming kimchi lowers blood pressure, triglycerides, blood glucose. Kimchi has also been shown to enhance the quality of skin and hair, reduce risk of obesity, improve gut health and digestion. Right now, And we know viewers can get 25% off Kimchi One with code AUK at mybrightcore.com/AUK or call 888-317-9941 for up to 50% off, free shipping, and a free bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2 only when you call. Again, that's 888-317-9941.
Appointing a special counsel at this time is the right thing to do. The extraordinary circumstances presented here demand it. Mr. Smith is the right choice to complete these matters in an even-handed and urgent manner.
Garland's announcement comes just days after Trump officially declared his 2024 bid for the White House.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice.
The FBI under the Biden administration questioned whether it had established probable cause to search President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in 2022, but moved forward with the raid anyway after pressure from senior Justice Department officials.
Well, prosecutors aren't supposed to tamper with evidence, and it looks like that's what he did. He changed the sequence of the documents that he seized from Mar-a-Lago.
Special counsel investigating former President Trump wants a judge to give what's essentially a limited gag order against Mr. Trump in his election interference case.
Did you identify any violations of 18 U.S.C. 1512?
We did not bring any charges.
And did you allege that he violated any terms of his release?
We did not.
You did hear the Attorney General specifically cite why he is deciding to take what he called this extraordinary step, and that is because Donald Trump is now a 2024 candidate.
I thought the trial date that we proposed, given the case, given the discovery, was reasonable, yes.
The FBI did run surveillance on Pennsylvania Representative Scott Perry before seizing his cell phone as part of the Arctic frost probe.
Tonight, Jack Smith, the former special counsel, now under investigation himself, caught in writing Jack Smith's actions were, quote, nothing more than a tool for the Biden and Harris campaigns.
That's Jack Smith, and now we learn that dozens of members of Congress, hundreds of other Americans were spied on when they went and got their phone records. Some people, like myself, up to 2.5 years of their phone records. Who they called, who called them, when they called them, how long the call lasted, and if you initiated that call, they knew where you were at when you made the call.
When you sought these non-disclosure orders, the judge didn't know it was a member of Congress. Is that correct?
I don't think we identified that because I don't think that was department policy at the time.
So who should be held accountable for answering these questions?
Well, I think who should be accountable for this is Donald Trump.
Jack Smith. There you go. Hey, let's not tell the judge what we're really up to. Let's not disclose the names of the people that we're going to spy on. Let's not disclose that the Biden administration worked with us to do all we could to try to go after President Trump and all those that are beholden to him. President Trump, deranged Jack Smith, decimated before Congress. It was over when they discussed his past failures and unfair prosecutions. He destroyed many lives under the guise of legitimacy. Jack Smith is a deranged animal who shouldn't be allowed to practice law. If he were a Republican, his license would be taken away from him, and far worse. Hopefully, the Attorney General is looking at what he's done, including some of the crooked and corrupt witnesses that he was attempting to use in his case against me. The whole thing was a Democrat scam. A big price should be paid by them for what they have put our country through. Listen to this from yesterday.
We had a large choice of witnesses in this case.
Are you familiar with what Washington Post reporters Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis said in their book? They did this book, 300-some pages book on chronicling the whole investigation of the Justice Department. And here's what they said on page 310. They said Jack Smith had wondered whether some of Hutchinson's claims might be relied upon at trial. Still, at one point, Smith told the elections team he wasn't ready to give up on Hutchinson's account. Ultimately, however, Trump administration officials uniformly, fiercely disputed her accounts under oath. Prosecutors on your team told Smith they wouldn't want to use Hutchinson as a witness in court, and Smith agreed. Are Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis, who wrote this, are they lying?
My recollection is that I certainly had not made any final determinations about
And
who we were going to call.
And that's the point. That is the point. The fact that they used her in a primetime hearing and you won't rule out using her, or didn't rule out using her, putting her on the witness stand when everybody knows she wasn't telling the truth, that says it all. That's the degree the left and Democrats were willing to go to get President Trump, putting on the witness stand someone everybody knows is making it up. Everybody knows that. And you were willing to do it. By the way, you know how many times Cassidy Hutchinson was mentioned in their report, the January 6th report? Any idea, Mr. Smith?
I do not.
185 times. Someone that the whole country knows wasn't telling the truth, and you were still considering putting her on the witness stand because you had to get President Trump. And everybody can see that.
I know. We've seen this stance over and over where they play strong arm, they talk to the guy, they expose him for what he's done, and they go out and have a cup of coffee later on. I know. So I, again, look at these things that come out to the public so that they can see over and over again, those that pay attention on C-SPAN and other places, that this guy is a criminal. And he did some very nefarious things to try to take down President Trump. And folks need to be reminded of that. Here's one of my favorites, Brandon Gill, exposing Jack Smith to his face.
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered the time period between November of 2020 and January 2021. How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one.
It was 16 days after becoming the highest ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll records...
You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk?
Oh, nice question.
It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be associated...
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. They're the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records. But I've got more, so let's move on. In May of 2023, you also issued subpoenas for toll records of 9 U.S. senators and an additional representative. Is that right?
In May of 23, we did issue...
You did, and there were non-disclosure orders in conjunction with those subpoenas as well, right?
That's correct, consistent with department policy and the law.
So again, nobody would know what you were doing. The senators would, and the representatives would, and the American people wouldn't know what you were doing. Is that right?
Oh my goodness, he is getting tore apart.
The toll records that we secured and the non-disclosure orders were consistent with policy and consistent...
And you knew whenever you were doing that there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
The toll record subpoenas that we secured were with the concurrence of the public integrity.
Your own analysis says that you knew there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. I have it right here. This is an email from John Keller at Public Integrity Section to your team. As you are aware, quote, as you are aware, there is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the DC Circuit. That's from your own analysis right there. So you did know, didn't you?
You did.
Sir, with respect to the item you just put up on the screen, the last sentence states...
we're going to get to the last sentence.
Okay.
We're going to get to the last sentence. And you cite case law in here, quote, the bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. Is that right? Or do you think that you didn't have to abide by that precedent?
To be clear, this statement is not from my office. This is the statement of public
This is your justification for those subpoenas and NDOs that you ordered. This was part of your analysis. It's a cursory analysis. I think it's worth noting. But let's get to that last sentence then.
Woo, I love it.
Given my understanding of the low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. In other words, you're using a novel legal theory, which you knew was novel, has never been tested by any court. You're not charging any of these members. Nobody's going to know about it because you issued NDOs. Nobody's going to sue this, so who cares? We're going to do it anyway.
That's right.
You walked all over the Constitution throughout this entire process.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time is
spying
expired.
on members of Congress, and you know it. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Way to
I yield
go,
back.
Brandon Gill. Oh, man. And folks, if you're not watching, you're listening, Brandon Gill's face, if you saw it, he looks like he's ready for battle. He's sick and tired of it. I'm going to show you in a moment what happens when the deranged left gets upset because they're being exposed with this J6 freak lying police officer, Michael Fanone, and his childish behavior, because that's what they do. That's what they do. I'm going to show you that in a moment. First, I just want to remind you we've got amazing gear, merch, t-shirts, hats, all kinds of accessories and more leading into the spring. Follow me and I'll make you fishers of men, Matthew 4:19. We've got men's polos. We've got all types of things to choose from. Here's more great pictures of patriots wearing our gear. Now here's the J6 disgrace of Michael Fanone.
I would like to quickly address the police officers of January 6th. Mr. Don, Mr. Fanone, Mr. Gonell, Mr. Hodges.
So this is Troy Nails, if you're listening, a Republican from Texas. During this J6 committee hearing, he's calling them all out, all the liars.
Member of the new select committee to actually examine what happened that day. And I can tell you, gentlemen, that the fault does not lie with Donald Trump. It lies with Yogananda Pittman and the U.S. Capitol leadership team. We know they had and there was going to be.
So what you just heard, if you're listening, was Michael Fanone coughing out loud and telling this Representative Troy Nails to go blank himself, disturbing the proceedings because he can't handle the fact that he's guilty.
A high propensity for violence that day. Claim my time, yeah.
You will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. We've had some disruptions already. We don't need that. Let the gentleman may continue.
We know.
He coughed again and said something. I didn't catch exactly what he said, but I'll just guess that it's probably a couple of cuss words. Yeah. You see him? He leans over, coughs out loud, and everybody in the room is looking over to see because they heard him. He disturbs the whole proceedings because he's guilty. He knows it. And I'm looking forward to him getting arrested and put away for a long, long time. You know, the D class of FISA will initiate the resignation, recusal, and or removal of Rod Rosenstein. Remember that from 2018? D class of FISA will initiate the awareness that all signers will be currently under investigation. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, I believe is what it stands for, where they surveyed, they went in and spied on Trump and his campaign and others. D class of this spying against President Trump will factually demonstrate without argument the U.S. government under Hussein Obama knowingly presented false evidence to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court in an effort to obtain legal U.S. intelligence umbrella to look into and spy on President Trump for the sole purpose of influencing the 2016 election of the presidency. Just a reminder of where we're at. Like, that didn't work, so they got to get Jack Smith in there, and they got to do J6 and more. And then Jack Smith walks out of the courthouse. And he's trying to hold it together as real reporters pressed him.
Mr. Smith, what do you have to say to allegations that you committed forgery tonight? What do you have to say to allegations that you defrauded the American people, Mr. Smith? That you wasted taxpayer dollars, Mr. Smith, on politically persecuting the president? Sir, did you defraud the American people? Do you think you're going to go to jail, Mr. Smith? Do you think the DOJ will come after you? Mr. Smith, do you think that you'll be arrested? Mr. Smith, did you break the law?
Mr. Smith, how could you say that Trump has no First Amendment rights to question an election, but Hillary Clinton gets away with prosecution?
Mr. Smith, are you shocked that President Trump won the election? Did you think you were going to get away with breaking the law?
Did you think you were going to get away with breaking the law? Finally. I think that's from Lindell TV. Reporters going out there and they're like, in his face. My hope is that will get bigger and bigger as we move forward. Now, True Stormy Joe caught this and put it together. The screen shows this. It seems like we're supposed to pick up a pattern here. We have Jack Smith on Capitol Hill for Arctic frost. Remember, Brandon Gill exposed Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg. They need to be held accountable for forcing banks and telecom companies to hand over private communications in Arctic frost. Minnesota with storm a church face federal charges. We're going to show you that because those that stormed the church, there's folks getting taken in now. Remember, Lutnick with the Art of the Arctic Deal was on Fox News. You got Newsom shivering from ice storm. You got Dan Scavino, major January winter storm. He put that out. And then Dan Scavino put historic winter storm. You feel like there's some storm comms floating about? Also, there was a bald eagle spotted posing for a Minnesota traffic camera. Seems like foreshadowing of what's to come, says Nick Sortor. Is Minnesota about to be liberated? I'm going to show you some comms on that in a moment. But first, since we're talking about Minnesota, somebody else has asked some questions. Oh, Ilhan Omar.
Congresswoman, can you tell us what your response is to the Oversight Committee launching an investigation into your net worth, you and your husband's net worth?
Oh, an investigation into net worth. Can you respond to that? Listen, does she start getting snarky with him?
Claiming that it's risen rapidly. What's your response to what they're saying?
She's not saying a thing.
Do you think they'll find anything in their investigation into your net worth?
She's not saying a thing. She's not getting snarky.
From ICE in Minneapolis, you said you're going to vote to not fund DHS, the whole department, or just ICE?
Ooh. Something's up. She's normally pretty snarky. She's not today. Dan Scavino posted that bald eagle. Remember the eagle-eyed traffic reporter? Spotted the beauty perched over I-35 in Minneapolis. It was a 37-second video that Dan Scavino Jr. posted, and he said perfect timing. Well, we like when Scavino posts, right? Dean Erickson also says Dan's post had the 35 number and the 37 seconds, right? Well, it's apparent Dan is pointing out the bald eagle for a reason. Let's refresh our memory what the bald eagle stands for. Represents freedom, strength, courage, and independence. Now, let's look at number 37 on the cue board, shall we? From 37 seconds. They are the true patriots, we're told. We will never forget. Let those coming days be remembered let these coming days be remembered in our history as the time we fought to recapture the republic from those evil, bad actors who for so long have sacrificed the good people of this land for their own personal gain. Fight the good fight. Let justice be served. Now, the 35, I-35 west in Minneapolis, 35 here is perfect. Remember, perfect timing, perfect. POTUS will be well insulated, protected on Air Force One. This is drop 35 on the keyboard. And abroad, specific locations classified. Well, he's just, flown in back to the States. He flew over to Davos. He was well insulated and protected. While these operations are conducted due to the nature of the entrenchment. It is time to take back our country and make America great again. Bald Eagle. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. There were uniforms all around Davos. Did you guys know that? It is our hope that this message reaches enough people to make a meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph this message through normal methods for reasons I'm sure everyone here can understand. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Love is patient. Love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans, 41020. That's DJT, Donald J. Trump. Interesting with that Bible verse, it reminds me, I was on AJ Patriot's podcast a couple of nights ago, and the late night show where we call it the Late Night with Johnny show, right? And here's Johnny. And we had a great 2-hour conversation, and it led to much on biblical things that have been happening in our nation. It was wonderful. And if you guys missed it, I challenge you to go check it out. Great discussions going on there and finding out more about the wake-up call that is happening across our country. Speaking of wake-up call, look how folks are responding with President Trump heading over to Davos and what they see.
Oh my God, did y'all see that Mark Rubio cut out Gavin Newsom's speech at Davos? Y'all see that? Y'all, the Trump administration is not playing, baby. I don't know why folks keep messing with Trump as if God is not guiding him. There is something, everybody out here has to admit, there is something supernatural going on. And yes, we are in spiritual warfare. Yes, demons have been unleashed. Let me tell y'all something. Democrats unleash these demons so they can try to ruin this man. People don't understand this, but Trump is up against all Luciferian families. Everybody at Davos right now, there's about 13 Luciferian families that this man is up against. This thing is spiritual warfare. And see, nobody is going to understand this who is still stuck in the matrix. If you are still stuck in the matrix, the Luciferian matrix, that they have us all under this Roman Luciferian matrix, you will not be able to see. And that's why people don't understand what's going on with Trump, because they can't see outside the realm of their reality. This thing is getting deep. I'm telling y'all, President Trump is being moved by God, and nothing is going to stop him. So anyway, keep your popcorn. Come here.
Keep popcorn. Oh, that's so cool. I just love that. Add the music there and it just gets even better. Even better. Speaking of even better, did you guys know that the DOJ just made its second arrest in Minnesota church terrorist attack? St. Paul's School Board member Chantil Louisa Allen is now in federal custody. Let's go. Attorney General Bondi says more to come. We will protect our houses of worship. Love it. Let's see. Rubber Duck showed us this. Let's learn about the lucrative careers of the live action role players of the LARPs you are seeing all over the television and internet. When was the last time you ever thought television would admit this to you? Here we go.
For a long time. She gets a lot of grants from different nonprofits, and she's always made more money than she has spent. So, like, there's a financial incentive for her. There's a business model for these types of things.
And they're talking about Nikema Levi Strong. She was involved in the disruptions at the City Church St. Paul. She's the former president for NAACP. Good night, Minneapolis. Former professor of law, University of St. Thomas School of Law, advisor to Black Lives Matter, charged with multiple misdemeanors related to participation in 2014 Black Lives Matter protests is being placed on Fox.
We've talked about this really since I've been on the network. One of the things that I've tried to sort of bang the gong on that I think a lot of police who do investigations see that the public doesn't see is that there is a job, career protester, and it has developed over the last, let's say, dozen years or so into a very lucrative industry.
Oh, wow. Big industry. You want to be a protester? We're going to pay you good. But you're going to probably get arrested. Remember this guy?
So, you know, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it.
And there he is. It looks like he's finally taken in the guy who stormed the church, and he's done for. Let's listen to J.D. Vance, what he has to say about all this.
Mr. Vice President, appreciate you taking the
time
very much. Yeah, thank you. Obviously, you've given your remarks a little bit earlier, but I've never seen any protests like this. We've just had charges announced on Armstrong, Allen, and Will Kelly. What do you make of this whole situation?
Well, first of all, if you interrupt a church service, you ought to get arrested, you ought to go to prison. And I think we wanted to send a very clear signal at the Department of Justice that you cannot interrupt people's rightful worship without expecting there to be any consequences. In the same token, you can't assault a law enforcement officer without expecting to get arrested either. So the Department of Justice, I think, has been on the case here in Minneapolis where this really started as an anti-fraud operation. I think a lot of folks in the Democratic Party decided they didn't want to talk about fraud from Somalians. They wanted to talk about the brutality of immigration enforcement, as they call it. And so what you've seen a lot is this sort of viral effort to try to inflate what's actually going on, to overstate the wrongs that have been committed and understate the very serious problems that we have with immigration enforcement in this country for a long time. And they're just trying to distract. They think that if they can turn ICE into this evil monster, it will distract from the fraud and it will distract from the Biden open border. And we're just not going to let it. We are not going to let that happen.
Yeah, well, this is another thing too. You were actually the one to announce the Assistant Attorney General now going to be looking into these types of cases. How many more of these do you think we're going to see? We can hear the protesters outside. Yeah. How many more of these do you think you're going to see nationwide?
How many more arrests do we think we're going to see nationwide? I mean, look, I think we have a fraud problem that is much worse in California than it is in Minnesota. I was talking actually to our small business administrator. I think she's found probably $500 million of fraud in Minneapolis and the broader Minnesota area. I think she's found $7 billion worth of fraud in California. So this is unfortunately a problem that is much bigger than Minnesota. But it's also, it highlights how absurd this effort to prevent the immigration enforcement is. If you look at blue states, blue cities, you look at Memphis, Tennessee, not a Republican mayor. You look at red states like Texas, but blue cities like Austin. You do not see this level of chaos over the enforcement of our immigration laws. What you have is a small band of very far left people who are doing everything that they can, up to and including assaulting law enforcement officers and raiding churches, to try to make ICE out to be the ultimate enemy and to kind of engage in this weird small-scale civil war against federal immigration law. It's absurd. It's added a lot of chaos here in Minneapolis, and it's one of the problems why I'm here to fix it.
Yeah. All the negative funding that we've seen fall out of the sky from the Republicans. There was something that was passed that I didn't know about. They passed a DHS funding bill, includes $10 billion for ICE. That's not million, that's billion. That's 999 million plus. Put that 10 times over. Oh, ICE isn't slowing down, it's ramping up. And that's Republicans 213 yay, 1 nay, 1 no. Democrats actually had 7 say, yeah, we'll join in on this. And they had 206 say no, of course. Wow. Big moves. We're going to show you some more on these reactions to different ICE protests, how the mainstream media tries to twist things to make it go their way, our removal, leaving the WHO, and more from President Trump. Some special things that were said, interesting things, at the WEF in a moment. New Spring Wellness Center. Your all-natural one-stop shop for optimal brain health and overall wellness. They're out of Osage Beach, Lake of the Ozarks. Folks, I've been there twice now. You can reach out to Chad and Katie Burrow for support. Are you a loved one or a loved one struggling with addiction? At New Spring Wellness Center, they offer a proven outpatient program that addresses addiction recovery like no other. Their brain restoration program is designed to restore your health, eliminate cravings, and help you achieve lasting recovery. Folks, I have witnessed it for myself. The changes in people who had addictions. They have faith-based support, IV therapy. They have prayer and so much more. John N. said he had alcohol and brain fog. He said, I came to New Spring Wellness for alcohol and brain fog, something I've struggled with for over 30 years. I tried AA before, but this treatment was unique, different than anything else, and it offered a better outcome for me. My head feels so much clearer. My faith has deepened. I've made new friendships, and I have no desire for alcohol, completely different than just 2 weeks ago. Around day 5, I started to feel a real change. There's truly no comparison. I feel renewed. The people here are friendly, professional, and knowledgeable. The patient care is excellent. I'd absolutely recommend this to anyone. Amber was addicted to Xanax for 15 years before coming to New Spring Wellness. Tried the inpatient and outpatient programs, counseling, AA. I came to New Spring to ease withdrawal symptoms in a stress-free environment and to begin repairing my neural pathways. A family member who works in recovery told me about it. Almost instantly, my withdrawal symptoms eased, and I finally had time to focus on myself, surrounded by caring individuals. The emotional support and brain restoration formula made a real difference. By days 2 to 4, I had more energy and better focus. Folks, I've talked to people there, prayed with folks that have come through this program. It will change your life. Go in the description box below and click on that link to change your life or others forever. So I'm showing you, you're listening to this. So there you are, the deranged folks that are going to need insane asylums for them. They're just young kids, American kids, indoctrinated in the schools of Summit High School in Frisco, Colorado. Protest where students screamed into microphones about how horrible ICE is and calling Donald Trump a dictator. They're all cheering open borders. Absolutely insane, Colorado. Public schools. Yeah. Really breaks your heart, doesn't it, what they're doing to our children? How their minds are so messed up and deranged. They would do some crazy things, like maybe someday go into churches thinking that it's legal. Well, if they do that in Florida, and listen to what Sheriff Grady Judd mentioned about storming churches.
Hello, everyone. Sheriff Grady Judd here. I'm standing in a house of worship, and I think about last weekend in St. Paul, Minnesota, where people who came to worship were attacked. They were attacked by rioters. The service was disrupted. They cut at the very fabric of this great United States of America. We settled this country so many years ago so we could worship free the way we wanted to in whatever house of worship we chose. That attack is unacceptable. I can assure you that had that attack been in this community, every one of those rioters would be in jail today. That's where the federal government could have found them, on state charges, locked up. And I pray it's that same way all across the United States of America. Enough is enough. Let's join together for the good of the United States of America. Let's worship the way we want to, and let's everyone renounce the horribleness of last Sunday in St. Paul, Minnesota.
There you go, Sheriff Judd. Now let's get to the mainstream media, and they're calling out the lies, saying that there's a 5-year-old child that was left to, freeze to death. The ICE people are so bad.
Local school district here is alleging ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how your administration is conducting this immigration crackdown here in Minnesota?
Are you proud of how they're conducting this immigration crackdown? I mean, how dare they grab a 5-year-old, separate him from his family? Here we go. JD Vance, take it.
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research.
Come on.
And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense.
Yeah, buddy. Nice try, mainstream media. Something has to be done about the fake polls, says President Trump. They're truly out of control. We have the greatest economy in the history of our country, the strongest border in history. Nobody's ever done a job like I've done, and they have me in the low 40s. The Democrats destroyed health care. I'm trying to fix it, and they give me fake low numbers, fake polls on the economy, border, just about everything. Ridiculous and dangerous. The real polls have been great, but they refuse to print them. It's no different than a writer who is corrupt, of which there are many. The New York Times and so many others print polls that are knowingly false. They have become deranged and sick. They suffer from a major case of Trump derangement syndrome. Their 2024 election coverage was so bad and so wrong, and yet they never get called for it. But I'm calling them out with the lawsuit that I have filed, which is making its way through the courts. They have to pay a price for fake and fraudulent news, and hopefully in the not-too-distant future, they will. He's not playing around. Also, the United States officially exits the World Health Organization, the unhealthy org that was stealing all of the money of the people around the earth. It was not doing any good for anyone. President Trump called them out a while back. Now, Captain Kyle showed us a clip from the World Economic Forum I thought was very, very interesting. And he posted it with this: you are witnessing something firsthand that many cannot possibly comprehend or accept as reality, sci-fi, or precision M planning. Listen to Trump's words.
We did a lot. I did a lot of big things, all perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed.
Everyone was perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed.
Perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed.
Everyone was perfectly executed. Pay attention to his words. He reposted Cue the Storm, in case you guys think, oh, they don't really follow Q. He posted Cue the Storm. Wonder how come the reporters aren't going after him for that. He's constantly doing that. Cue the Storm put this out. 19,958 votes flipped live on TV from Trump to Biden in Pennsylvania during the 2020 steal. Before the magic trick, Trump had 1,690,000. Biden had 1,200,000. After the switch, 19,958 were gone from president and added to Sleepy Joe. Trump had 1,600,000. Biden had another 1,200,000. Then crickets. They shut down counting nationwide because Trump was crushing in a historic landslide. Coincidence? You decide. He's letting us know. Also, Trump posted a video of a young man exposing the 8 rhinos stopping the SAVE Act from getting passed. Yep. Rand Paul, Tom Tillis, Todd Young, Jerry Moran, Susan Collins, Chuck Grassley, Lisa Murkowski, and Mitch McConnell. They're caught. With all of this awakening happening, I really like these clips. I mean, we're going to get to some more from Newscomb and how he behaved. And I don't know, this guy almost looks like he's wearing a mask or he's crying or something's wrong with him. Anyway, part of this awakening is happening, and I put this link to this young lady's account if you want to reach out to her on, looks like Instagram. Listen to what's happening, folks, to many across this world.
Did a bit on my spiritual journey as well, and you guys know I am a late waker upper. I must have hit snooze a few too many times because it's really been slowly since January 6th, but only really since November of 2024 that I've really started waking up. And so I'm late to the party. I'm behind the curve, and I have felt bad about that. I have felt bad that how did I not see so much for so long? But now I am so thankful that this was delayed me for this long, because I don't know how you guys have carried this for that many years.
Yep.
Those of you who have known these things forever, how did you walk this path so long, knowing the things that you know? It is overwhelming me to see and realize all the horrors at once.
Yep, it is. All at once. That's why they didn't want it out
I
at
don't know
once.
how you guys had done it for so long and held yourselves together, because... All right. The floor is open for advice. All of those of you who are have been around, your awakening has been, I need help. This is hard. Everything I believed crumbled. Everything. My faith in my faith in my religion, my faith in my country, my faith in my fellow man. It is all shaken to the core.
Sure
and
is.
I'm sitting in the rubble trying to figure out, is there anything true? Is there anything to hold on to?
Mm-hmm. There is the Word of God. That is true. Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man goes to the Father but by me. So I left the link to her Instagram. You can reach out to her and help her out. Maybe show her some clips about Gavin Newsom and just how crazy this guy is, that he would actually even admit at the World Economic Forum. Well, first of all, he shouldn't have even, it's okay for him to go there. But what did he do? He was actually putting President Trump down, the President of the United States, and his administration while he was there. He flew to another country to put America down, American leaders down. Go to America, you do that all you want, but heading over to another country to put him down, pretty sick. Check this out.
Do you think that your party went too far, or that you went too far? And I think, for instance, in extending Medi-Cal to the California healthcare program to undocumented immigrants, like, do you?
Well, two different
I guess
questions.
on the big picture and the small picture, do you feel like you went too far?
Two different questions. Do I believe in universal health care? Yes, regardless of pre-existing conditions, ability to pay, and your status. I campaigned on that. We delivered on that. And I'm proud of that. We're one of 16 states to provide care to people regardless of their immigration status.
So he admits state gave illegal aliens taxpayer-funded health care. But they said, Dems for months, illegals weren't getting taxpayer-funded benefits. Saw another reporter heading over about the H-1B visas, and this guy was caught.
Hi, are you Hari? Yeah. Hi. I was wondering, I was just looking for more information on Quibbit's technology.
Can I call cops? I can't.
He says, I'm going to call the cops.
Yeah, sure. I would love for the cops to come out here. Well, you're probably not going to be shocked to hear that 3B's Technologies is not an isolated incident. Here we have Quibbit's Tech Systems, and this company, tech is in the name, so you would think technology, okay? They have filed 13 H-1B visas, and 12 were approved in the year 2025. One was denied. So you would expect that at least 12 people were working in this house right here. Let's see if that's the case.
But they're not. And she walks away after talking to this guy, and he slams the door in her face.
The door.
03 promontory drive.
Actually, the audacity that you are coming here and exploiting my system and using my taxpayer dollars to call the police for me investigating is insane. So what I hope that this accomplishes is that I want everybody who is exploiting our immigration system to be I want them to be on high alert. I want them to be so scared that someone's going to show up at their door and expose all of the fraud that they're committing that they go home.
As you just heard, Hari.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of exposure, listen to Obama.
We're serious about economic growth. It is time to heed the call of business leaders, labor leaders, faith leaders, law enforcement, and fix our broken immigration system.
That's liberals. They're standing up. Yay for Obama. That's a great thing.
We have to stop illegal immigration. We have to.
Trump says it and the liberals go crazy. No, Trump said it. We can't believe in that. But Obama says it. Oh, we can love it. You know, CBS in Maine reports that many residents they interviewed actually support ICE. Well, maybe they heard from Obama. Who knows?
We spoke with a handful of people in the community to get their thoughts on seeing ICE in Westbrook.
I really feel there's a lot of people whose rights are violated.
You never know what's going to happen. And people are scared to open their doors or even leave the house nowadays.
Others who didn't want to appear on camera told us they support ICE. It's a sentiment we're also seeing through comments on our Facebook page. John says, "Do your job, ICE. Love it." David commented saying, "I voted for this." And Tori, who says, "Good job, ICE. Keep up the good work."
ICE. Well, if you head over to, I don't know, Enterprise Rental Company in Minnesota, you know, they're renting their vehicles out to ICE and supported them. But what do? The leftists, those that need to be in insane asylums, they show up, storming the rental car company, and to rent, cancel, and target employees, all because ICE uses these vehicles. Mentally disabled. Well, all that's going on. We got some good news on the economy.
GDP just crossed the tape. We got the final read of 4.4% for the third quarter. That is better than the expectation, which was 4.3%. And again, the GDP is a final read of 4.4% for the third quarter. Jobless claims just coming out. They're also better than expected. They came out at 200,000 versus an estimate of 210,000. Continuing claims coming in at 1.849 million versus an estimate of 1.900 million. So these are better than expected numbers on the economic data.
Big
GDP
numbers.
just crossed the tape. We got
big numbers, folks. Big numbers. Oh, man. What else? Oh, did you guys know that silver actually hit $100? $100.04. Oh, isn't it amazing how we've gone from starting our podcast and then having Dr. Kirk Elliott on when we were at $19, $20 an ounce. And so many people back then jumped in and said, yeah, I like this. And they switched their IRAs over. And now we're at the $100 level. You know, there were some folks that dropped their IRAs at $850,000. It's already 5 times that. Can you imagine what they're thinking? Silver has officially hit that mark, suppressed for over 200 years. 300 plus paper contracts for every 1 ounce of physical silver, one of the most heavily manipulated assets in global markets. But paper can't suppress physical truth forever. While gold attracts safe haven flows and Bitcoin struggles to defend the digital gold narrative, capital has quietly rotated into real physical assets. Isn't it amazing? That's why we love listening to Dr. Kirk Elliott and all of his updates he's been giving us for so long. Silver's breaking out. And you know that you can reach out to him and his team because it's going to grow even further. It's got another 9 years to go. Based on all of our interviews, it's going to keep going to where it's supposed to be. Just getting started. If you want to learn more, all you have to do is go to amweknow.com/gold in the description box below. Reach out to Dr. Elliott and his team, and they will help you out, folks. Never too late, for sure, with all the great things happening in America. No tax on tips, Social Security tax cuts, no tax on overtime, $259 million in back wages recovered, Pell Grants for skilled trades, protection of American jobs. Whew. It's just been one amazing year for all of us, for sure. I've got time to show you some more things that I missed the other day. Randy Weingarten, remember, who is overseeing a major component of the failed education system for decades, wants to use the World Economic Forum to create curriculum for American children.
So part of what we're trying to do here is say, how do we create this partnership between education, labor, government, and industry with the goal of creating these pathways so that kids, when they come out of high school or they come out of college, don't have to start saying, what am I going to do next? The pathways become important, and to create those pathways, you also have to create a curriculum, and you have to create this engagement with each other. And the last thing I'll say is this. When you do it, in the United States of America, we have 16,000 school districts. We have over 100,000 schools. There are industry partners all over. And you, Kiva, were the one who said, you can't keep on doing this industry by industry. You were the one who said, you can't keep on doing this governor by governor. How do we use the WEF to create this kind of integrated network so that we're all working together so that kids can have, from high school on, opportunities to have jobs that pay a living wage so that they can feed their family and nurture their family. And that is what happens in advanced manufacturing.
So what does she want? Local and parental control bad, global and elite control. Come on, guys, join together. Let's do a whole world join together and seize control of our children. She wants to teach what? Remember? Sexual deviancy, sterilizing children, worshiping vaccines, promoting the climate hoax, and embracing Satanism. What other things were brought up at the WEF? This is from Avery Day. We've shown her before.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction.
President Trump is 100% correct. I am an American who recently spent 3 years living in Europe, and it is not recognizable anymore. Even in the 3 years that I was there, it changed so much. Did you know that in Brussels, only 10% of children and adolescents aged 0 to 17 are of Belgian origin? That means that 89.44% have some foreign background, with 73% of those having a non-EU background. What part of the world did they come from? Sub-Saharan Africa, many Muslim majority countries. And most students, children, were enrolled in Islamic religion courses. Did you know that British residents are a minority in London? And 10 boroughs have a majority non-white population. Mohammed is the #1 baby name in England. Did you know that Sweden has 65 no-go zones? Areas that have been taken over by migrants and are extremely dangerous. There's actually an estimated 900 uncontrolled areas across Europe. What Europe has done is they've opened their borders to military-aged men from Muslim-majority countries who have come in, been a net drain on society, have raped women and children, and they're paying for their stay. They are selling out the safety of women and children. They're selling out their freedoms out of fear of being called Islamophobic. Well, that's the disguise they're hiding behind. That's what they're trying to manipulate people into believing, but it's for temporary power. It has nothing to do with DEI. It's really sad. All my friends in Europe they're heartbroken by it. They're all looking to leave because they know it's not going to be safe for their kids anymore.
Yep. Amazing. Every day, great information there. Great update for all of us. I wanted to show you something that the U.S. Department of Labor, they continue to do, folks. They're showing this image of Lincoln. Your nation calls. Apprenticeship.gov. Answer the call. They say, well, that's interesting because DC Lidstone, who's going to be on the cruise with us, showed us that Answer the Call is actually on the Q board. Again, they're posting something straight from Q. Now's the time now is not the time to be complacent. Will you answer the call? That was on the Q board from January 2020. Wow. It's amazing how they continue to do that. And you know who answered the call? Scotty Moore. 10. His final video before he left this earth. He played The Doors, The End. And I'm going to show you just a little bit of this before we finish off today. The music. It's just interesting how this played before he left.
It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. You can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
Amazing that he chose this song, leading to the end of his life here on the earth, his last breath. We're going to lift his family up in prayer today. When he put this out, he showed the image of the flag for God and country. He showed Kirill Dmitriev, President Putin on Greenland, recalls Russia selling Alaska to the U.S. for about $7 million. Scaled to Greenland size, that's roughly $250 million today, or $1 billion if you benchmark to gold. He says this price is probably affordable to the U.S. And there's a picture of Greenland with the American flag draped over it. President Trump, he showed him, Department of Homeland Security to ICE must start talking about murderers and other criminals that they are capturing and taking out of the system. Remember, we showed you that. Pentagon orders more active duty soldiers to ready for possible Minneapolis deployment. All of his posts were giving us a quick few minutes. For those people that don't have time to listen to podcasts and more, they would click on Scotty Martin and say, I want to find out what's been going on today. And it goes real quick and you read it with a little bit of music in the background. President Trump reposted Biden's FBI-paid anti-Trump sedition hunters as informants in J6 Arctic frost probes memo show. He was exposing it all just through these videos with music. Since Christopher raised numerous obfuscations before Congress regarding the FBI's involvement on January 6, we have learned the FBI had paid confidential human sources, J6, that entered the Capitol. FBI paid sedition hunters $150,000 to identify individuals on J6. FBI deployed 274 agents to Capitol after it was breached. It's becoming clear Ray's FBI had considerable involvement before and during the events on J6. More to come. FBI informants do not have blanket immunity or protection from prosecution. They're in big trouble. That was put out for the public to hear. And then he wanted this clip to go out.
Very, very ironic that Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris. He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros, and The Davos is a perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry, and I'm sure the California people won't forget that. And I can tell my message to Governor Newsom is the Trump administration is coming to California. We are going to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was told he was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, but he's not speaking. Because what have his economic policies brought? Outward migration from California, a gigantic budget deficit, the largest homeless population in America, and the poor folks in the Palisades who had their homes burned down. He is here hobnobbing with the global elite while his California citizens are still homeless. Shame on him. He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything.
Thank you very much.
Let me know if you need any further clarification.
Scotty Moore, salute to you. It's going to be missed.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you again. Thank you for your continued guidance in our life. Thank you for your grace and mercy, for using imperfect people all the time to do amazing things because of the Holy Spirit. We lift up to you today, Shailene and Scotty Martin's family. We thank you for how he and others have joined this fight in information warfare and spiritual warfare to expose the evil all around us. We ask that many others would continue to take this torch and run with it. That he had inspired many to listen, pay attention to the comms and more, and realize how he's being used for so long. Thank you for the service that he gave for our country. We ask that you would continue to guide and direct all of us as we deal with our neighbors, our friends, those that were around, neighbors, strangers on the golf course, wherever it may be. Help us, Lord, to be a shining light in this dark, dark world. It's been an amazing journey thus far this past 10 years. Absolutely amazing. Through all the pain and suffering and the pushing and the war and the enemy screaming and screeching, we've watched leaders stand up at the forefront and say, not on my watch. And President Trump being one of them. We ask for protection of his family. Thank you for bringing him back safe, for continued marching forward against this enemy as they claw back and try all they can to get back into something that's been destroyed. And hopefully it's destroyed forever. We thank you for the daily bread that you provide us. May your will on the earth be done as it is in heaven. It's in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Thank you, folks, for tuning in a little longer today, but just felt we needed to get it all in. You've been good to us. Your prayers have been noted. Your emails of support over a very difficult beginning of this week for many things that were done and said that, in my opinion, should not have been done. We're all open to freedom of speech, and the best we can to move forward is to have open dialogue and lovingly speak to each other. You guys have displayed that tremendously for And We Know, and for that we thank you. For now, this is LT. Have a great weekend. Semper Fi with And We Know. Signing out.
Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
Our favorite patriot, friend, lover of this country, veteran, family man, dad, amazing dad. Scotty is no longer with us. And I just wanted to let y'all know that he spoke for all of us. He made me do what I'm doing right now because he wasn't afraid to say it. This is a huge loss, but in every huge loss, there's a huge gain if we stand up, and stand behind everything he did. That's what we got to do.
Hold on, honey. Someday you're gonna be one day soon.